In the past, they have been brought in under the cover of darkness once the sun has set. So that is, 12 hours or so, less than 12 hours or so away. But they are also a significant distance from Ashdod port, far further than previous missions as well, which have been intercepted in places such as off the coast of Egypt there. Joe?
Okay, Matthew Doran there in Jerusalem. Lebanon's Deputy Prime Minister has told the ABC the ceasefire in his country isn't holding because Israel has been given free rein to continue bombing raids. The Israeli military has released fresh vision of strikes on claimed Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon, including weapons depots and buildings used for military purposes, while the militant group released its own video of drone attacks against Israeli troops. Deputy Prime Minister Tariq Mitri says Lebanon is in favour of a truce, but the current terms give Israel the right to act in self-defence at any time.
That gives them a pretext to continue whenever they deem necessary, which is what they're doing.
So does that mean that this ceasefire is ultimately worthless then?
Yeah, I mean, the ceasefire is not total.
This is ABC News. The top stories. The family of a young girl whose body has been found south of Alice Springs has released a statement saying it's going to be hard to live without her. The 5-year-old's body was found following a 5-day-long search by hundreds of police and volunteers. Police are calling for information on the whereabouts of Jefferson Lewis, who they suspect murdered the young girl. The Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion has made 14 recommendations in its interim report. The recommendations include the creation of a national gun buyback scheme and a review of joint counter-terrorism teams around Australia. The Prime Minister says all of the national recommendations will be implemented. At least 6 Australians aboard an aid flotilla have been captured by Israeli forces. The organisers of the global Samud flotilla say Israel intercepted a number of ships that were attempting to transport aid to Gaza. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade says it's seeking an update on the status of the Australians involved from Israel. And closing arguments have begun in the federal court in the ACCC's case against Woolworths. The presiding judge has questioned parts of the consumer watchdog's case. The ACCC has accused Woolworths of misleading its customers with fake discounts by increasing prices on hundreds of items, then dropping them and advertising them as discounted. More now on the interim anti-Semitism report. The New South Wales government has committed to adopting all the recommendations from the Royal Commission into the Bondi terror attack. The federal government has also committed to implementing the recommendations in full.
This is sobering but important reading. The Royal Commission is an important opportunity to shine a spotlight on the questions that needed answering on December the 14th and ensuring that we do everything we possibly can to stop it from happening again. We take the recommendations incredibly seriously, and the three of us are here to say we will implement them in full. We thank the Royal Commissioner for undertaking this work. The reality is for a state government is that its highest responsibility is to protect its people, and on December the 14th last year we didn't do that, and we take responsibility for that today, and as I said, do everything we can to change and ensure we confront evil and terrorism wherever it is in New South Wales and wherever it rears its head.
And Rabbi Eli Feldman is the leader of the Newtown Synagogue in Sydney. He says the past 4 months has been a difficult time for the community.
It's hard. I mean, it's just something that's unprecedented in our community here in Australia. It's unprecedented in Australia, this sort of mass casualty terrorist attack. It's ripped through the community. People have friends, relatives who have gone forever. Absolutely tragic.
And you're actually friends with Eli Schlein.
Yes, and some of the other victims as well and their families. So Boris Tetleroyd, Rabbi Yaakov Levitan, a number of others. So it's really, really hard.
Okay, so this interim report has come out today. It's limited in its scope. There's going to be a full report released later in the year. I'd like to go to some of the recommendations of that, if I could.
Yep.
The first one is in relation to security at events like Hanukkah. The recommendation is that it be increased to the level of the security that is organised for high holy days.
Yep.
What do you make of that?
I think security is a good thing. I think that, of course, you need to be secure, you need to be protected. Law enforcement's a very, very important thing. But as I've been thinking about today while reading this interim report, there's a lot of focus on the anti-Semitism part. It's a report about Royal Commission, anti-Semitism and social cohesion. There's a lot of focus on police and counter-terrorism and security and high walls and big offences, and I think that's important and unfortunately necessary. But I think equally as important, we need to focus on the social cohesion. How do we build a type of society where this type of thing doesn't happen?
And the Commissioner has made it clear that she is going to go with the structure of this. The inquiry is going to start looking at those issues even from as early as next week. And you've made a submission on that yourself?
I'm in the process of doing so.
Yeah.
Submissions are still being submitted. But I think that that needs to be a really huge focus, because if you look at the health of a society, for example, the community, we talk about a healthy Australia. We talk about investing in hospitals and doctors and those types of things. But those are all cure. Those are all focusing on the problem after it happens. We need to invest equally into good health, making sure there's gyms and parks and healthy food and farms providing the type of nutrients that are going to help people be healthy to the point where they need the hospital less. And I think so. If we talk about that in a physical health side, social health of the community is the same. Yes, we need policing, counter-terrorism. That's all the hospitals and the ambulances. But what about the gyms? What about the parks? What about the healthy eating? What about the programs, activities, good deeds that can be done to ensure that this community is so cohesive and so loving that these types of things don't happen.
Yeah, so you're particularly looking forward to this next phase of the hearings. What do you, have you got any ideas at this very early stage at what could be done to improve that social cohesion?
Definitely. I'd like to highlight the fact that the New South Wales government acted very quickly, within days of 14th of December, within days of that terrible Hanukkah massacre, and launched a program called One Mitzvah for Bondi. Mitzvah is the Jewish word for a good deed. And so on the New South Wales government website, nsw.gov.au/one mitzvah, they're still there. It's a initiative which was ran through the Multicultural Ministry, encouraging people to do a mitzvah, a good deed, to add in acts of goodness and kindness to bring light to combat the darkness. And thousands of people have uploaded saying, I visited someone I hadn't seen in a long time, I helped someone in need, I paid for someone's groceries, I've done good deeds. I just got a message last week from a colleague of mine in Victoria who was alerted to the fact that a school in Victoria, Caulfield Grammar, did a mitzvah campaign, and they've published a book of 1,000 mitzvahs that the school have taken on to increase social cohesion, to bring the community together. Kids stepping up and saying, I've joined Life Saves, I'm putting passion into volunteering, into giving blood, acting acts of goodness and kindness. I think when we focus the energy, people have passion, and if we can channel that passion into doing good and to making this world a better place, it doesn't go into bad ways. Yeah,
and so I had other questions about the counter-terrorism work and the gun buyback and things like that. But yeah, your focus is very much and optimistically looking forward to improvements in social cohesion.
Absolutely. I think that Australia's a beautiful country. I'm a fourth-generation Australian. I'm very proud of being Australian. It was embarrassing what happened here. Embarrassing because that's not the Australia that I love, and it's not the Australia that millions of Australians call home. And so I think that Australia has the values, which are, as a rabbi I can say, the biblical values of goodness and kindness, of seeing the fact that every single person is created in the image of God, regardless of colour of skin, regardless of what you believe, regardless of your life choices. We love everyone. It's an Australian thing, mateship, fair go for all. And I think we can channel that value of volunteerism, of building a beautiful society, of using our energies to make the world a better place. The possibilities are endless.
Once you put that submission into the Commission, I'll be surprised if they don't ask you to come forward. Are you free?
Well, you know what? Any opportunity to try and help make this country a more beautiful place. And I must say, despite December 14, Hanukkah, what happened, I'm still very proud to be Australian, because Australia is a beautiful country, and there are a lot of good people here. And I think good always overcomes evil. Light always pushes away darkness. And I think if we lean into that, the possibilities are endless. This country is going to continue to be a beautiful place.
Okay, Ellie Feldman, thanks so much for coming and having a chat to us.
Thank you, Joe.
The Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, says China has agreed to cooperate on shipments of jet fuel. China supplies about a third of Australia's jet fuel, but has tightened exports since the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Foreign Affairs reporter Stephen Jedgetz is in Canberra.
The Foreign Minister says that China's government, including China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who she met yesterday in Beijing, have committed to try to facilitate discussions between China's state-owned oil companies and Australian customers. Now, this, of course, is in the context of China really pulling back a lot of its oil exports, and this is a potential big problem for Australia because it's our largest exporter of jet fuel. With China pulling back there are potential shortfalls of the Australian market. Now, Senator Wong said that Wang Yi and others in the Chinese system have now agreed to facilitate those conversations. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
This is an important step. However, it is the first step. One of the messages that Australia is articulating is the extent to which our energy security is shared, and the nature of the supply chains in the region are that energy supplies to us impact upon our capacity to provide other energy and other commodities to the region.
Well, the broader context here is that it might be pretty good timing for the government, because the Chinese government, according to multiple reports in, for example, Reuters and the Financial Times, might now be on the brink of relaxing some of those restrictions on oil exports. Now, that's not because anyone has been pushing them to do it, or not chiefly because of anyone pushing them to do it, but because they're now more confident about their own domestic supply, notwithstanding some of the huge uncertainties we're still looking at globally, with the Strait of Hormuz effectively still closed, of course, and on top of that, a rapidly rising oil price globally. Nonetheless, if China is feeling more confident about its situation, then it might well be in a position to allow some of those state-owned oil companies to start to export more broadly. That would have big implications, not just for Australia, but also for other Asian nations, which are heavily reliant on China, particularly when it comes to jet fuel. But we'll have to wait and see.
Stephen Jedgetz there. Farmers are fighting a mouse plague sweeping across parts of Australia. Thousands of mice can live in every hectare of land, and swarms of them are doing serious damage to crops and livelihoods. Belinda Eastoff is a farmer and agronomist who joins us now from Una, out in a paddock northwest of Geraldton in WA. Belinda, g'day. So how bad is it getting there?
Well, standing in a paddock now, I've done a couple of transects, and we're getting around 25 burrows per 100 metres of transect, which equates to around 5,000 mice per hectare, which is a lot.
And can you do much to try to control the numbers?
Well, we know there's a problem in this paddock, so what happens is we need to get rid of the food source, and this is a lupin paddock from last year, so it's lupin stubble. There's a lot of grain on the ground. We know it's here. We know the mice are here. So we will bait directly behind the air seeder when we come through and seed it in 2 weeks' time. We know we're going into a big problem under the ground.
Yeah, and so are you expecting much of a result from that crop that you're going to sow in the next couple of weeks, or are you expecting the mice are going to get stuck into those seeds?
Well, I mean, as I said, I'm an agronomist. I travel around this area a fair bit, and I'm just finding people aren't baiting directly behind the air seeder. The mice are just having a wow of time overnight, and they're eating the seeds out of the furrows, especially canola. They really enjoy canola. So what's happening is the more you delay the baiting behind the air seeder, like if you wait a week, you're losing quite a lot of crop. Like they're basically losing the seeds, and in some places it's been germinated crop. The mice have actually eaten the seed off the bottom of the leaf when the leaf first emerges. So that's quite devastating when that happens, because that means reseeding.
And so is there much, we're dealing with a fair bit of wind on the mic here, but we'll continue. So is there much point actually trying to plant a crop if the mice are going to eat a lot of the seed?
The baiting works really well if there's no food source. So generally we end up with like three. The bait is a wheat grain covered in zinc phosphide. So basically you end up with 3 grains per square metre, and that's what the mice will pick up from those. So the baiting, if it's no food, that's all they've got to eat, and they'll eat it overnight. It's pretty instant. You see results straight away, and if it hasn't worked particularly well, you'll see new burrows start to appear within 4 or 5 days, and they'll be fresh burrows.
And can you see this easing up anytime soon?
No, because what's happened is we've had the perfect storm. So we've had a huge harvest last year, so there's a lot of rain on the ground, a lot of background food. We've had we grow a lot more canola than we used to grow, and that sheds quite badly. So those last few plantings that we do end up there's a lot more canola in the system. The live sheep export ban has actually farmers have transitioned out of sheep into cropping because of it, and so we're seeing livestock in a mixed farming system. You get rid of your background food, and in this case, all the food's still there from harvest. So the mice have had a wow of a time with that, and we've had continual summer rain. So basically, instead of having just steak, they've got steak and salad. So as soon as you get a rain event, they new burrows pop up everywhere. So we've had continual bits of rain. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. And this comes on top of challenges with skyrocketing diesel costs. Has that affected you much?
Oh, it's affecting everyone in rural Australia. Yes, the diesel, like we're paying nearly double. We were paying for diesel in March, we were paying about $1.52, and then we get a diesel fuel rebate for off-road use. And now we're paying possibly, the last few probably paying $2.80, that sort of thing. And the diesel fuel rebate off-road has been halved, so it's hurting. The fuel prices are really hurting now, and also this is another operation. And the other thing, obviously, that's impacting is the fertiliser price for our post-emergent nitrogen.
Yeah. So much challenges at the moment, but do you still love life on the land?
Well, I've actually been here for 36 years with this property, so yeah.
So you must love it.
Yeah.
And you're optimistic you'll get a good crop off that paddock eventually behind you.
Well, this year's full unknowns. The forecast for this year, rainfall-wise, is not great. So, farmers are eternal optimists, so we're all hoping that things will go okay. I'm pretty happy that we've had summer rain. It takes a lot of stress off.
Yeah. Okay, well, love your optimism, and we're optimistic with you. Belinda Easthoff, thanks so much for having a chat to us from regional Victoria. Regional WA. Sorry. Cheers. And now with finance news, here's Lin Lin.
Oil prices have surged today, hitting a 4-year high during the Asian trading session. Brent crude futures, the global benchmark, climbing as much as 7% to $126 a barrel before pairing gains. The benchmark now sitting at $124.60 a barrel. The spike in prices come after US media outlet Axios reported that President Trump was due to receive a briefing on new plans for potential military action in Iran, which sparked fears of further escalation and also comes on top of what has been a steady rise in the price of futures contracts as optimism for a peace deal fades in recent days. Keeping in mind, if oil stays higher, motorists usually feel it at the bowser within a week or two. Meanwhile, Australian share markets have logged its 8th straight session of declines. That's the longest losing streak since 2018. The ASX 200 and the All Ords fell by 0.2%. Shares in Woolworths fell by close to 8% after the company warned of surging fuel and input costs feeding through to margins. The supermarket giant revised down its food earnings outlook for this financial year. Across the region, it was a mixed picture. The Hang Seng Index lower by more than 1%. Meanwhile, in the US overnight, the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones showing some slippage. And the Australian dollar is holding steady. And that's the latest in finance.
It's that time of year again when the finalists of the Archibald Portrait Competition are announced. It's also the time when the art gallery staff who receive, unpack and hang the entries have their say and select their own winner. Reporter Julia Andre spoke with this year's Packing Room Prize winner, Melbourne artist Sean Lay.
Well, out of over 1,000 entrants in the 2026 Archibald Prize, the favourite for the Art Gallery of New South Wales staff has actually been announced here today at the Art Gallery. I've got the winner of the 2026 Packing Room Prize here with me. Sean, how are you? How are you feeling? Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to receive it. It's such an honour.
Well, thank you so much for your time and congratulations again. Well, now the judges of the Archibald Wynne and Silman Prize have a week to decide on the winners of those prizes. They'll be announced next Friday and the exhibition will open to the public on Saturday.
The Women's State of Origin series kicks off in New South Wales tonight with the Maroons looking to continue their winning record in Newcastle. History is on the visitors' side, and with games 2 and 3 in Brisbane and on the Gold Coast, a strong start on the road could be crucial for the Queenslanders. Neve Owens joins us now from Hunter Stadium. Neve, so good to see you. Is that history playing on the minds of the Maroons ahead of the season opener?
Joe, great to chat with you. Do you know what both sides have said? Absolutely not, that history means very little coming into this series opener here in Newcastle tonight. But the facts of the matter are there have been 2 Women's State of Origin games here at Hunter Stadium, and that has equalled 2 wins for the Maroons. Mind you, 2 very tight victories, 4 points in it last year, just the solitary point the year before. But it is the Queenslanders with history on their side coming in, and they need that extra boost, I think, Joe. This is a really new-look Maroons side. They've got 3 debutants in their starting side tonight, so the experience of the likes of Tamika Upton, their captain, who's captain in her own right tonight for the first time with the retirement of Queensland legend Ali Brigginshaw from the Origin arena. That experience of Tamika is going to be crucial for this young side tonight. We know just how dangerous she can be. We've seen it here in Newcastle when she was playing for the Newcastle Knights, winning a premiership in the NRLW. She will lead out the visitors tonight for Queensland. From a New South Wales perspective, there are 14 players that were part of that series victory last year who are in the lineup once again tonight. So they've got a lot of consistency on their side. They've also got prop Millie Elliott back in the fold. Joe, she had a baby 8 months ago. Little Gigi will be here in the stands tonight. She's going to be at each and every Origin game. Millie's first NRL game in 18 months will be in the Origin arena, and speaking to her teammates this week, they reckon she is back, she is better than ever, and she'll be a real inspiration for the Blues tonight. And looking forward to those images of little Gigi. OK, Neve Owens reporting there from Newcastle. The future of Live Golf is looking increasingly uncertain, with its biggest backer, Saudi Arabia, reportedly withdrawing funding for the Breakaway Tour. Live Golf has poached some of the world's best players over the past 4 years by offering them multi-million-dollar deals to play in events around the globe. But with the tour losing hundreds of millions of dollars annually, an announcement from the Saudi Public Investment Fund is expected within the next 24 hours. Adelaide has hosted one of Live's few successful events and has the rights to host the tournament in Australia until 2031. On the satellite image, an upper disturbance is generating a surface trough and thick cloud in South Australia and southern WA. A high-pressure system is driving scattered cloud and showers to coastal parts of Queensland and New South Wales. Looking around the country for tomorrow, starting in Queensland, showers in the east, fresh and gusty winds on the coast and sunny in the west. To New South Wales and the ACT, showers on the north and central coasts, morning fog in parts of the east and partly cloudy in the west. For Victoria, mostly sunny with cloud increasing in the afternoon. Warm northerly winds will tend fresh and gusty in the west. A fine day in Tassie, apart from some possible morning fog in the north. To South Australia, showers and possible storms in the west, where a southwesterly change is expected to bring fresh winds. In Western Australia, showers and the chance of a storm in the south, along with possible small hail in the far southwest. And in the Northern Territory, showers in the north and partly cloudy in the south. Looking ahead to Saturday's forecast for the capital cities, Brisbane and Sydney a shower or 2, Canberra a possible shower, Melbourne partly cloudy with a possible late shower, Hobart mostly sunny, Adelaide showers, Perth partly cloudy and a rainy start to a mostly sunny day in Darwin. And that is ABC News for now. Stick with us here on the ABC News channel. Going for a short break now. We'll be back soon.
Well, we know it wasn't an accident.
I don't know what to think.
Very grim. Wonder what else is in there.
I want to know, don't you? Silent Witness, Saturday 8:30, ABC TV and ABC iView.
The Assembly returns. Graduates from past series are back.
We're more confident.
This is the most bogan thing you've ever done.
And more curious.
Absolutely loved it.
The Assembly, Sunday 7:30 on ABC and ABC iView.
You're not really drinking the beer, you're drinking the proposition.
Officer, I just had a couple of propositions.
Ads are back on ABC.
How excited are you?
Somewhat excited.
It's the new season of Bruin.
They have bowler heads. Pronounced Volvo.
Still going strong.
Did you just say you're a model?
Purple pump. Purple.
Still cutting through the spin.
Steel?
Not steel.
Bruin, Wednesday at 8 on ABC TV and ABC iView.
Just so I know, who's only here to find out how to delete the porn off their computers?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm afraid it's much more serious than menopause. You've contracted early onset Karen.
Well, I'll tell you what. I want to talk to your supervisor.
I'm Dr. Madison Everson Addison.
What a horrible name.
Ursula, Wednesday, ABC TV and ABC iView.
I just thought it was a dream. We were in love. We figured we'd work it out.
In a remarkable new season.
It's a very big job that we've taken on, but an exciting opportunity.
Every dream restoration starts with something worth holding on to.
This is going to be quite a ride.
I see a romance in bringing things back to life.
This is magnificent.
Restoration Australia, May 21 on ABC TV or stream the full season on ABC iView.
Okay, ready? Get ready, little listeners. All your favourite podcasts are now available on the ABC Listen app. It's a space just for kids.
Huh?
Head to the Kids tab in the ABC Listen app to create your custom kids profile.
Please, come in.
And you'll get exclusive access to new episodes of the Bluey Listen Along podcast and more.
Let's dance to celebrate.
Create a kids profile today on the ABC Listen app.
Making a good impression.
You have to win them over with your personality and people skills.
Look at me, look at me.
It's harder than it looks.
Thank you. I'm happy with a handshake.
At least for some people.
I'm a truth custodian. I'm a disruptor. I'm a witch.
You two are weapons-grade bonkers.
I beg your pardon? Oh, could this day get any worse?
Comedy that leaves an impression. Stream now on ABC iView.
A body discovered in the search for a 5-year-old girl missing in Alice Springs.
The support shown during this time has been overwhelming, and this is the worst possible outcome.
The Prime Minister accepts all national recommendations of the interim report from the Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion. Soaring prices on the shelves, Australia's biggest supermarket chain warns of more markups to come. And a portrait of British-Australian actor Jacob Collins awarded the Archibald Packing Room Prize. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Joe O'Brien. A child's body has been found near Alice Springs. And a warning for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers, the following report shows an image of the girl and is used with the permission of her family. The discovery confirms everyone's worst fears that the 5-year-old missing since Saturday night was dead. A massive police manhunt for the suspected killer continues.
A day that began with hope, quickly dashed.
This is the worst possible outcome.
The discovery of Kumanjai's little baby, devastating not only to her family,
but also the first responders, the Alice Springs community, and all of those around Australia who have been worrying.
Including her brother.
I have a message from Mum and the immediate family. It is going to be so hard to live the rest of our lives without you. Ramziah wants to tell you that when he sees you in heaven, he is going to give you the biggest hug ever. Love from Mum and Ramziah.
In Darwin, the Chief Minister, visibly shaken.
As a mother, as a member of our community, dark days like this rock everyone, and it's certainly, the heartbreak of this is real. We are focused on a grieving family, a grieving town and a grieving Northern Territory.
With this small community struggling to comprehend today's dreadful news, the search for the suspected murderer continues.
The focus right now is to locate Jefferson Lewis. It is our sole job in this investigation right now. So I say to the family of Jefferson Lewis that we believe he's murdered this child. Do not assist him. Get him to the police station and we'll look after him. And I say to Jefferson Lewis, we're coming for you.
From a town deep in shock and grief, Elsie Lange, ABC News, Alice Springs.
The Royal Commission on Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion has delivered its interim report. It's found there were no legal or regulatory shortcomings which could have hindered authorities responding to or preventing the Bondi terrorist attack. The Royal Commission has made 14 recommendations. 5 have been kept confidential. The Prime Minister says all recommendations related to the Commonwealth will be adopted. Reporter Gavin Coote begins our coverage.
A community shattered by terror has been demanding answers. Now, an interim report by Royal Commissioner Virginia Bell has offered some clarity.
Commissioner Bell has found that our existing legal and regulatory frameworks did not hinder our agencies in preventing or responding to the Bondi attack.
But it did find areas needing improvement. There are 14 recommendations, including that there should be a review of joint counter-terrorism teams around Australia, with an urgent report to be submitted to police commissioners. The Prime Minister and National Cabinet members should take part in counter-terrorism exercises within 9 months of each federal election, and that New South Wales Police should increase security at high-risk Jewish events.
The reality is for a state government is that its highest responsibility is to protect its people, and on December the 14th last year, we didn't do that, and we take responsibility for that today.
When a terror attack occurs of this scale, almost by definition, it's a failure of counter-terrorism. It wasn't counted sufficiently, so there are improvements to be made.
The report found only 4 officers were allocated to attend the Chanaka by the Sea event at Bondi Beach. That's despite a warning from the Jewish community in the days prior that a terrorist attack was likely.
The policing response was provided on that evening. The Royal Commissioner has said that she'll examine that incident closely, and I think it's appropriate that she does.
The police always have been at all our events. They're always there. There's a sense of reassurance to the community, and they were there on the day, and two of them got injured.
At the core of the trauma that is still felt today by the Jewish community is the scourge of anti-Semitism. The report says it has long festered in Australia, and that will be the focus of the inquiry when it begins hearing from witnesses next week.
The Jewish community no longer feels safe going out and about, given not just the terror attack, but harassment and intimidation across a whole range of settings.
A community hoping this inquiry is a step towards a safer future. Gavin Coote, ABC News, Sydney.
So the inquiry has focused on the role played by intelligence agencies. It found there were warnings the risk of a terror attack was growing.
The key questions following the terror attack: who knew what when, and what might have been done to prevent it.
I have said on multiple occasions governments could always do better.
The report spells out that there were warnings, finding ASIO publicly and repeatedly drew attention to the heightened risk of a terrorist attack. The inquiry can't yet say whether those warnings were heeded. It will be necessary to investigate whether and how ASIO and law enforcement agencies understood and acted on those assessments. The report found funding for intelligence agencies rose 31% to $14.3 billion in 2024-25. But the proportion of funding for counter-terrorism within agencies significantly declined.
There are significant concerns we have around the counter-terror efforts under this government.
At the start of the decade, foreign interference had become the priority within ASIO. But in the year following the Hamas terror attacks of October 2023, the terror threat level here was lifted from possible to probable.
I think that is very much going to be drawn out in the questioning and the hearings to come to see whether that was an appropriate level of resourcing and activity.
Much of the report's findings on the inner workings of intelligence agencies is classified, and the agencies will give evidence once hearings actually begin. But the report points to one step that can be taken now, urging states and territories to sign up to a national gun buyback. A number of states have refused to sign up.
I, again, would reiterate a constructive call for states and territories to work with the Commonwealth.
Queensland today made clear it won't be doing so. Tom Lowry, ABC News, Canberra.
The mother of former police officer Bolamar Condon has been remanded in custody accused of attempting to influence a witness in her son's murder trial. Mr Lamar Condon has pleaded not guilty to murdering Sydney couple Jessie Baird and Luke Davies in 2024, and his trial is scheduled for September. Colleen Lamar faces one count of intending to pervert the course of justice. The 63-year-old did not apply for bail when the case came before a judge today. It's been adjourned for 2 weeks. Australia's biggest supermarket, Woolworths, is warning prices are heading higher on a wide range of everyday items. The inflation shock triggered by the war in the Middle East is pushing up costs for suppliers that could last for the next 12 months.
Fruit and vegetable costs are rising.
I tried it in the first couple of weeks, absorbing some of the prices, but you just can't make any money.
Australia's biggest supermarket is warning that packaged foods will rise next.
Everything seems to be going up, up and up.
It's a very volatile period at the moment.
Woolworths is freezing prices for 3 months on hundreds of home brand products, including pasta, eggs, chicken breast and nappies.
There's more margin in those home brands, which means there's more wiggle room, which means you can hold those prices down.
After gouging concerns during the last inflationary spike and now allegations of fake discounting by the ACCC against both Coles and Woolworths, both of the major supermarkets are going to have a hard time convincing shoppers that they're not profiteering.
I think they're a business and I think they care mostly about their profits.
I trust in good karma and I can hope that they wouldn't do us wrong.
We recognise that during the last inflationary cycle, we could have done things better.
Coles will announce its sales results next, with more price warnings expected. Smaller stores like this Asian grocer are trying to absorb price rises as Australians battle cost of living pressures.
We're trying to stay positive and let's just try and ride through this.
Oil is soaring again, hitting well above $120 a barrel overnight.
We expect the costs and consequences of that conflict on the other side of the world to persist for a while longer yet.
And next week, there's a rate hike for households, tip 2. Amelia Turzon, ABC News.
A national snapshot of affordable housing has revealed 99% of private rentals are unaffordable for people on welfare or earning the minimum wage. The survey of 49,000 rental ads has prompted renewed calls for the federal budget to include reforms to capital gains tax.
Gambling addictions.
We see workers gambling during work on their lunch break, and it's become the norm where people will talk about what bets they're putting on.
Now they can be on site and they can be betting and being in a high-risk position. It's a safety issue.
One solution lies in addressing gambling not as a personal failing, but an industry-wide issue. At this building site run by Mirvac, gambling risks are part of regular toolbox chats.
They train, they refer, and they're committed to health and wellbeing on their sites.
Seeking help before it's too late. Bronwyn Herbert, ABC News.
Coming up on 7:30 with Sarah Ferguson, another test of the power of Pauline Hanson. Is the Queenslanders Party about to make another gain beyond the Sunshine State?
I like her values that she's got. She's different.
No, I don't want you. No, I don't want you either.
Victoria is a basket case, and I won't hold back on that.
I don't think the answer is a party that's based in Brisbane that won't actually be advocating for local issues.
Police in the UK have declared a terrorist incident after the stabbing of 2 Jewish men in North London. CCTV captured the attack, which took place in broad daylight. Body cameras showing the moment officers tasered and arrested the suspect, a 45-year-old British national. The 2 victims were treated at the scene for stab wounds before being taken to hospital. It's the latest in a string of anti-Semitic attacks, which have left the Jewish community on edge.
It's our job to make sure that they feel safe and secure. It's our job to make sure that we absolutely deal with the roots of anti-Semitism and extremism.
6 Australians are among around 175 people detained by Israeli authorities after the ships they were sailing towards Gaza were intercepted off the coast of Greece. The global Sumud flotilla released this vision of the moment it says Israeli forces boarded one of the vessels. The group is describing Israel's move as piracy and condemned it for seizing the ships in international waters hundreds of kilometres from Gaza and Israel. They'd been trying to break the Israeli aid blockade of the war-ravaged strip, which they argue has exacerbated the suffering of Palestinians. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations says his country's military had bravely dealt with a group of delusion-seeking agitators. Lebanon's Deputy Prime Minister has told the ABC the ceasefire in his country isn't holding because Israel has been given free rein to continue bombing raids. The Israeli military has released fresh vision of strikes on what it claims are Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon, including weapons depots, while the militant group released its own video of drone attacks against Israeli troops. Deputy Prime Minister Tarek Mitri says Lebanon is in favour of a truce, but the current terms give Israel the right to act in self-defence at any time.
That gives them a pretext to continue whenever they deem necessary, which is what they're doing.
So does that mean that this ceasefire is ultimately worthless then?
Yeah, I mean, the ceasefire is not total.
US Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth.
$5 billion is equal to the annual budget for space agency NASA. Secretary Hegseth would not elaborate on the figure, but it's far less than the $200 billion the Pentagon initially requested for the war. Some experts say the true cost could be as high as $2 billion a day.
Flanked by NASA astronauts from the Artemis II mission, Donald Trump said he'd spoken to the Russian president about Iran.
I didn't talk about space, no. He told me he'd like to be involved with the enrichment if he can help us get it.
The president posting a warning for Iran to get smart soon and agree to a non-nuclear deal, or no more Mr. Nice Guy. Rachel Clayton, ABC News, Washington.
According to court documents, the man accused of attempting to assassinate Donald Trump took a photo of himself in his hotel room shortly before the attack. Prosecutors say Cole Thomas Allen was heavily armed with a shotgun, pistol and multiple knives and daggers. They're calling for him to be detained until his trial. The 31-year-old was arrested after breaching security at the Hilton Hotel in Washington, where Donald Trump was attending the Correspondents' Dinner. Allen has pleaded not guilty to several charges, including attempting to assassinate the president. King Charles and Queen Camilla are in New York City on the second leg of their US visit. King Charles, a keen gardener, toured an after-school urban farming program in Harlem. The royal couple also paid their respects at the 9/11 memorial, laying a wreath in tribute to those who lost their lives and to mark Britain's solidarity with the American people. The King and Queen met with first responders and families of the victims of the 9/11 attacks. To finance now, and the oil price has reached a new peak as the Middle East conflict continues. Here's Daniel Ziffer.
A barrel of crude oil now costs about $124, a new mark for this conflict at least. The peak was almost $140 in 2008 as the American economy stuttered ahead of what became the global financial crisis, or GFC. The price of precious metals lifted today, generally a sign people are worried about the direction of the economy, and that lack of confidence pushing down global stock markets. Although it's worth noting that all but Hong Kong on this slide are near record highs. Locally, supermarket giant Woolworths wasn't just defending its third quarter sales growth of 4.5%, but also in court, where the competition regulator is about to wrap up a case that alleges it misled shoppers with fake discounts. A similar case against Coles has been heard. We're waiting for the judgment. And the Aussie dollar was generally higher in value against major currencies in trading. Here's a useful look at the real economy, drawing on data from more than 5,000 cafes. The average price of a small flat white is $5.01. This is for the standard cow's milk. Your plant juices are more. Now, competition plays a part. The states with fewer people tended to get charged more, but you'd have to assume it's easier to find a seat. And that's finance.
A portrait of Australian actor Jacob Collins in character as Hamlet has won this year's Archibald Packing Room Prize in Sydney. Artist Sean Lay has been commended for a painting featuring complexity and beauty.
Dark, brooding and in character, this self-taught artist was watching actor Jacob Collins in a Melbourne play when he decided to paint his portrait.
The idea occurred to me to contact him and see if he would want to reprise his role as Hamlet for my painting.
It's now the 2026 Packing Room Prize winner.
I came to professional painting quite late in my late 30s, and so I didn't really have the opportunity to go and have a technical painting education.
The award is decided by gallery staff who unpack and hang the works of finalists in the Archibald Prize.
That it's a much more of an intimate process where you get to actually look and hear the stories that come through the packing room doors.
Almost half of the entries in this year's Archibald Prize are first-time finalists, just like Packing Room Prize winner Sean Lade. Now the judges have just over a week to decide on the winners of the Archibald, Sulman and Wynne prizes.
It is a really important moment to think about what's going on in contemporary Australian painting.
The countdown now on for Australia's most prestigious art honour. Julia Andre, ABC News, Sydney.
The Papua New Guinea Chiefs have sent a message to the rest of the NRL that they mean business after signing Jerome Luai, and they're confident the move will set the platform for plenty more signings.
Signing a player of Jerome's calibre.
With Jerome Luai's signature locked away, the PNG Chiefs have made their mark.
6 months ago, 12 months ago, people were saying this team, who will go there, this team's going to be a rabble, it'll fold. And now we're sitting here with Jerome Luai as our first signing.
The club confident the Luai acquisition will dispel concerns over the PNG move.
It sends a message, if it's good enough for Jerome, it's good enough for anyone. Like, he's coming with 3 young kids.
And lead to several more big names signing on.
We've been inundated with interest from people, and you never know if interest ends up becoming reality, but we've been pretty confident as a club that we would put a competitive roster together. And this confirms that.
Alex Johnston's switch will be ratified in the coming days, but for now, PNG is in the midst of Luai mania.
It's really big. You know, there's excitement all over the country. The supporters, the fans, everyone is really, really excited about Jerome's signing, yes.
On the field, all eyes will be on the Melbourne Storm tomorrow night as they try and end a 6-game losing streak against the Dolphins, their worst run in 24 years.
I've done so well, obviously, and let's get short sharp as I can get.
And the Cowboys will travel to Sydney to open round 9 against a Bulldogs side reeling after losing 2 in a row.
The start is really important because of how fast and physical they will attack the game.
Daniel Garb, ABC News.
In AFL, St Kilda coach Ross Lyon is proud of the way the club reacted after his Indigenous players confronted him about comments he made at training. It was reported that Lyon offered his resignation at the time of the incident, but today he moved to clarify what he meant.
Things are all sweet at St Kilda, and that's got the coach proud as punch.
It was a really great process driven by the players, so it talks to our environment and the way it was handled, and the shop floor took care of it.
Ross Lyon was the first to put his hand up, admitting he made an error after saying, "I love the brother-boy connection." He was confronted by his Indigenous stars, and reports followed he was ready to quit.
So the context of that was, if you don't think I can rebuild the trust, I would consider my position.
Attention now turns to an upcoming reunion. Jack Silvani and Tom de Koning reunite with Carlton on Saturday.
Look, I baked them a cake today, you know, so, yeah, look, I just said, that's the hallway chat.
Forward Max King will again play VFL, while Liam Ryan won't play at all.
Just had a little burst blood vessel, so I just swelled up and we just had to check him out, make sure there's nothing sinister.
At North Melbourne, George Wardlaw didn't train as he deals with illness, but there's still hope he'll be well enough to face Geelong on Saturday. The Lions take on the Bombers with a few extra centimetres. Cody Curtin will make his debut. The door opens for the 200-centimetre forward, with Oscar Allen ruled out for 3 months with a broken foot.
It's disappointing for him as much as anything else when you're a new player at a club. It takes you a while to settle in.
Alexia Pesce, ABC News, Melbourne.
The future of Live Golf is looking increasingly uncertain, with its biggest backer, Saudi Arabia, reportedly withdrawing funding for the Breakaway Tour. Live Golf has poached some of the world's best players over the past 4 years by offering them multi-million-dollar deals to play in events around the globe. But with the tour losing hundreds of millions of dollars annually, an announcement from the Saudi Public Investment Fund is expected within the next 24 hours. Adelaide has hosted one of Live's few successful events and has the rights to host the tournament in Australia until 2031. On the satellite image, an upper disturbance is generating a surface trough and thick cloud in South Australia and southern WA. A high-pressure system is driving scattered cloud and showers to coastal parts of Queensland and New South Wales. Looking around the country for tomorrow, starting in Queensland, showers in the east, fresh and gusty winds on the coast and sunny in the west. To New South Wales and the ACT, showers on the north and central coasts, morning fog in parts of the east and partly cloudy in the west. For Victoria, mostly sunny with cloud increasing in the afternoon. Warm northerly winds will tend fresh and gusty in the west. A fine day in Tassie, apart from some possible morning fog in the north. To South Australia, showers and possible storms in the west, where a southwesterly change is expected to bring fresh winds. In Western Australia, showers and the chance of a storm in the south, along with possible small hail in the far southwest. And in the Northern Territory, showers in the north and partly cloudy in the south. Looking ahead to Saturday's forecast with a possible late shower, Hobart mostly sunny, Adelaide showers, Perth partly cloudy and a rainy start to a mostly sunny day in Darwin. There's more on the ABC News app and on ABC iView. Stay with us for 7:30.
Welcome to the programme. Tonight, the first recommendations from the Anti-Semitism Royal Commission. What could have been done differently to prevent the Bondi attack? I'll speak to Shadow Home Affairs Minister Jonathan Duniam. Also coming up, in a shattering day in Alice Springs, the heartbreaking conclusion to one of the Northern Territory's biggest police searches. And another test of Pauline Hanson's political power, this time in Victoria, where One Nation is hoping to capitalise on a weakened state Liberal Party. First tonight, security agencies and Jewish groups had been warning about the dangerous hatred being directed at Australia's Jewish community before the terrorist attack in December last year. But today's first report from the Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism has revealed funding for counter-terrorism investigations was actually falling in the preceding period. Adam Harvey reports.
Late afternoon, mid-December, in Sydney's eastern suburbs. A car stops on Ocean Street, Woollahra. In the open boot, a glimpse of a hand-painted ISIS flag. And at 6:17 p.m, a father and son begin the final stage of a journey.
Changes are required to keep Australians safe.
The federal and New South Wales governments say they will implement the report's recommendations.
The reality is for a state government is that its highest responsibility is to protect its people, and on December the 14th last year, we didn't do that. And we take responsibility for that today.
The report details the rising anti-Semitism after the Hamas terror attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, and the immediate public hostility towards Australian Jews.
Not only were we seeing Israel targeted, but we're seeing Australia's Jewish population targeted as somehow supporting Israel and somehow collectively responsible.
In August 2024, ASIO raised Australia's terrorism threat level from possible to probable. As arsonists and vandals attacked synagogues and Jewish schools, ASIO's Director General warned of the growing threat to Jewish people.
It's certainly raised its ugly head. We're concerned it's not yet plateaued.
Funding for Australia's security and intelligence agencies had increased to $14.3 billion in 2025. Yet the proportion of that money allocated to counter-terrorism between 2020 and 2025 significantly declined.
A question for examination will be whether the resourcing for counter-terrorism was adequate in the deteriorating security environment.
Well, no one can deny that counter-espionage and countering foreign interference in Australia's politics are important things, but the problem is that counter-terrorism never went away, and certainly after the horrific Hamas attacks in October 2023, radicalisation and terrorist violence was right back on the menu.
The detail of what exactly ASIO and other agencies were doing remains secret.
Well, I suppose the fact that 5 of 14 recommendations are confidential and the public can't see them, I hope that's not an indication of the Royal Commission's final report, because really a whole lot of its value is not just doing good work, but it's the public understanding the good work it's done.
At the start of summer, ASIO issues annual holiday season alerts. In previous years, these included specific warnings about the risk to Hanukkah celebrations. In late 2025, with anti-Israel marches in full swing across the nation, ASIO's holiday alert said escalations in the Middle East were more likely to provoke protests rather than terrorism. And this year, there was no mention of Hanukkah.
My feeling about it is the national conversation focused so much on social cohesion and what words were people using, what slogans were they using. Maybe that harder counter-terrorism edge got a bit lost in the noise, because it turns out it wasn't all about community cohesion. It was about some individuals who were motivated to go to violence.
At Bondi, security preparations had been underway for months for a family event for up to 1,000 people on the evening of December 14, Hanukkah by the Sea. A week prior, the Jewish community's own security team, the CSG, passed on its threat assessment for the event.
A terrorist attack against the New South Wales Jewish community is likely, and there is a high level of anti-Semitic vilification.
It requested a police presence. The precise New South Wales Police response that day has been redacted from the report, but police told the Royal Commission that 3 General Duties officers and 1 supervisor were here that day. The local area commander came in and out. The community security guards were unarmed. That's the law in New South Wales.
The Jewish Community Security Group had attempted to engage numerous times and occasions with New South Wales Police about their concerns that there was a heightened likelihood of an attack, and significant questions emerge out of how seriously that was taken.
Police considered the information provided by the CSG. The police provide their own risk assessment. So as an organisation, we assess events based on intelligence and other information we may have. The policing response was provided on that evening. The Royal Commissioner has said that she'll examine that incident closely, and I think it's appropriate that she does.
Facebook ads for Hanukkah by the Sea promised face painting, rock climbing and animal petting, starting at 5 p.m, with the lighting of the menorah set for 7. The killers arrived at the Festival of Light at 6:50.
The Coalition is offering bipartisan support to implement the recommendations in the Royal Commission's interim report. Senator Jonathan Duniam is the Shadow Home Affairs Minister. Senator Duniam, welcome to 7:30.
Sarah, thanks for having me.
Have you been offered a full briefing, first of all, on the interim report from the Royal Commission?
As at today, we as an opposition haven't been offered a full briefing. My office has reached out to receive that full briefing. We believe it is in the national interest to have a bipartisan approach to matters of national security, and of course that includes, in a confidential basis, receiving information about those recommendations and parts of the interim report that aren't yet publicised. I think it is important we have access to those so we can make an informed decision in response to what the Commission has thus far uncovered.
Let's talk about what's in the report that's available to us for now. Talking about the report earlier today, you said the Bondi attack could have been avoided. So based on your reading of the report, what specific action or decisions could have stopped the terrorists carrying out the attack?
The most glaring of the weaknesses identified in the interim report, of course, relate to the non-decision by government to effectively focus the role of the part-time counter-terror coordinator in the Australian government to purely focusing on matters counter-terrorism, to ensure that efforts across government agencies, ASIO, AFP, Home Affairs and all the other agencies at a federal level that operate in this sphere, along with state and territory agencies as well, are all focused on ensuring that they are sharing information, that they are collaborating and that they are putting in place every measure to ensure that events like this don't occur. It was a key recommendation out of the interim report. And of course, in an environment where we have a terror threat level that has since August of 2024 been at probable, it strikes me as odd that the government didn't refocus that role to be 100% focused on counter-terror efforts.
You say refocus, and of course that was a decision taken under the Liberal government, but I appreciate we are post the raising of the threat level, but you're not saying that that would have changed the outcome, the behaviour of the terrorists at Bondi. That role had been singularly focused on counter-terrorism instead of counter-terrorism and counter-espionage.
Well, of course, changing the behaviour and actions of individuals who are intent on doing harm is something that is impossible to do, but responding to threats and identifying them early is what that role and a government focused on counter-terror efforts in a coordinated and cohesive way should be able to deliver. So that is what we're focused on here. I mean, there are always going to be bad faith actors and evil individuals who will seek